Pyramids. Information concerning the construction of the various pyramids throughout the world is available to those willing to search. The methods of mining, transportation, using levitation technology, and the actual construction is no longer the mystery it once was. However, what remains outside of general knowledge are three questions. When were they built? By whom were they built? And why were they built? To consider the first question, when were they built? Let us say that many pyramids were built over a long period of time, some fairly recently, but what is of interest is what are called the Great Pyramids of Giza and similar pyramids in the Americas. These original and wonderful constructions date back many thousands of years. One cannot put a precise date on any pyramids, as they were constructed around the world over a number of years by a builder race of beings that went from country to country to decide on the exact location and to organize the architecture and the workers. The latest of these pyramids that we are considering were constructed some 12,000 years ago, and the earlier ones date back at least 20,000 years, perhaps longer. Those that are called the Great Pyramids were the first, so we can say that they were constructed about 20,000 years ago. By whom were they built? The answer to this question depends on which branch of construction one considers. There were the designers, the workers, and many other beings and priests, etc., that were involved in the total projects. Let us first consider the beings that decided that these pyramids were necessary. This was what you refer to as an alien race. It is customary by those who consider themselves versed in information concerning aliens to associate them with a star cluster, Orion, the Pleiades, etc. In fact, true aliens are non-corporeal and, as they live in the astral realms, are not associated with anything terrestrial, any more than the concept of heaven can be associated with a particular star system. Alien beings have been curious about Earth, the only planet with life in physical form on its surface, for vast amounts of time. One must always remember that all non-physical life is immortal, and so, periods of time, such as 1,000,000 years, are meaningless to immortal beings. A group of aliens decided that pyramids were necessary throughout the galaxy and undertook to construct them on various planets and moons throughout the galaxy. The reason will be discussed later. But this group of aliens were what we refer to as the builder race. Being non-corporeal, they could not assume physical form, but they could communicate with the priest groups across the world by telepathy, as it was usual for priests to be versed in the art of telepathy at that time, pre-Christianity and pre-Islam. The priests at that time worked closely with the rulers of the countries concerned and were told some story by the aliens as to why the pyramids would be advantageous to the rulers, to help them with afterlife or a similar story, and so it was agreed by the rulers that the pyramids could and would be constructed throughout planet Earth. So, by telepathy, priests were instructed to assemble workers, tool makers, builders of housing, food, cooks, and all that would be required to allow vast construction projects to take place. Once all that was in order, the priests were given details of the sites and some details of the construction techniques that would be used. Robots of various types were invented by this builder race, specifically designed to work in the environments that they would encounter. These would be similar to what you may know as Greys, Mantis, etc. But, we stress, all were robots, specifically designed for the tasks they were to perform. The techniques used to mine and transport the blocks of stone have been correctly perceived by remote viewers, and so we do not consider it necessary to repeat that information here. Suffice to say that specifically designed life forms were used to mine the blocks of stone. Human builders, using alien design technology, cut the blocks to the precise shapes that the builder race specified, and humans, using levitation technology, also provided by the aliens, were used to oversee the transport and placement of the blocks of stone that resulted in the wondrous pyramidal forms that we see today. Why were they built? As we previously stated, these pyramid-shaped constructions were placed on strategic planets and moons throughout the galaxy. Man has recently discovered some on the Moon and on Mars. As man explores space more, he will discover them on many other celestial bodies. The reason for their construction was quite simply to act as guiding beacons throughout the galaxy, to enable flying craft, UFOs, piloted by robots, to guide them to any chosen destination. They can be considered to be interspatial road signs. As we have previously explained, all is frequency, so, to travel from one place to another, it is necessary to know the frequency of the desired location, and these pyramids constantly broadcasted their location, thus allowing the beings piloting a UFO easily to jump from one location to another. We should, perhaps, mention the famous sarcophagus located in the so-called King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Cheops. This was placed there to placate the king of that period and fool him that the pyramids were, indeed, constructed as a burial chamber for that king. We will also mention why there are 3 pyramids of ancient construction on that site. The largest, the Great Pyramid, broadcasted a homing signal out into space, whereas the smaller 2 just linked with other pyramids throughout planet Earth and allowed crafts to fly between any sites on Earth. Some of these pyramids are still active, whilst others are no longer in operation. The ones in Giza are non-functioning, as they were damaged by Earth shifts, but there are others throughout the world that are still broadcasting their location. This is a brief overview of the pyramids located on Earth. We could talk at great length about the power sources used to create the homing signals and many more fascinating facts concerning the pyramids, but we have given an introduction to assist mankind in his understanding of the various races of beings that interact with humanity incarnate and have done so for many millennia. Additional information about the pyramids provided by the Great White Brotherhood. The original pyramids built on Earth, done with the help of skilled humans trained in the use of alien cutting tools, created pyramids of great beauty. But that level of technology is not necessary in order to create a beacon projecting homing signals out into space. A pyramid shape was chosen because it is a very stable shape and can withstand earth tremors of great violence, whereas other shaped constructions might collapse. Thus, with regard to pyramids constructed on other planets, the robotic life forms created by the builder race were used. A robot force was created with sufficient intelligence to cut blocks of stone or stone-like material found on diverse planets, and they are still there to this day, a monument to the skill of the builder race. However, close examination of these pyramids will reveal that the blocks of material used were not cut so precisely as those at Giza. It matters not. It is the stable shape that is important, and some beacons have been in use for vast amounts of time. Those found on Earth are of fairly recent construction, compared to others in use on distant planets.